designed for higher efficiency, better concrete quality, and easier on-site installation. Tecon's upgraded HETO frame formwork, Alu-Flex, and the new APEX DEK system form a complete solution for wall, column, and slab construction. Their integrated application demonstrates excellent compatibility, strong structural performance, and clean concrete finishes, effectively addressing key challenges such as complex joints and leakage control. Proven under real pouring conditions, these systems help contractors achieve standardized construction, reliable quality, and higher productivity on site. Building on this integrated solution, we now proceed to the on-site assembly demonstration, beginning with the HETO frame formwork for vertical structures, starting with column installation. Transport the formwork panel to the assembly platform. Position the second panel. Install the chamfer strip. Stand it upright and connect using corner clamps. Hoist the assembled panel into place. Align with the preset positioning. Release the hook and proceed with the next panel. Lift the next panel. Align and connect with corner clamps to close the column formwork. Install push-pull props for stability. Adjust vertical alignment. And secure the anti-lift clamps. Repeat the processes to assemble the remaining columns. For the wall section, a ground pre-assembly method is adopted to improve efficiency and ensure precise alignment before lifting. Pre-assemble the steel frame panels on the ground. Then move them to the designated position for initial positioning and alignment. Connect the panels using HC alignment couplers, mini clamps, and steel wailings. Hoist the assembled panel into place. Hold the bottom steady and align it with the preset positioning from the lower level. Insert tie rods with PVC tubes in advance to prepare for closing. Release the lifting hook and proceed with the next panel. Align and fasten neighboring panels using HC alignment couplers and mini clamps. Connect the opposing panels with tie rods and big plate nuts to complete the wall closure. Install push-pull props to stabilize the formwork and adjust vertical alignment. Seal the end panels to complete the final formwork closure. Concrete pouring begins with the pump truck operating in accordance with the specified procedure. During vibration, the vibrator is inserted vertically using a fast in, slow out method. Over vibration is avoided, and direct contact with the formwork or tie rods is strictly prohibited. Proper pouring practices are essential to ensure both formwork safety and concrete quality. Throughout the pouring process, dedicated personnel continuously monitor the formwork condition and respond promptly to any abnormalities. Once the concrete is cured and reached the required strength, formwork removal begins in reverse order of assembly. starting with the columns and then proceeding to the wall formwork. Start by dismantling the push-pull props. And corner clamps. Hoist the panels to separate them from the concrete. Then lift them to the assembly platform. Remove chamfer strips and clamps and stack neatly. Repeat until all column formwork is removed. With the columns cleared, proceed to the walls. Remove push-pull props and end panels. Dismantle tie rods and selected couplers. Hoist the panels, separate from the concrete, and bring them to the ground for disassembly and stacking. Repeat until all wall formwork is removed. After formwork removal, you can see smooth, straight concrete surfaces and neatly aligned tie rod holes, demonstrating the reliable quality achieved through standardized construction. We now move to assembling the Alu-Flex slab formwork. First, adjust the early stripping heads to the working position. Set the steel props to the proper height and install the early stripping support heads. Install the steel props and Alu-Flex panels, connecting the first two props with a truss bracing to form the initial assembly unit. Hang the panel on the early stripping support head. Fork it with the support rod and continue installing the remaining steel props, adding additional truss bracings where needed to enhance overall stability. Following the installation of the Alu-Flex primary structure, the APEX DEK system is integrated to work in combination, ensuring full compatibility between the two systems. Install the steel props and secure them with tripods for stability. Place the filler beam onto the early stripping support head and connect it firmly to the Alu-Flex panel using the locking handles to prevent overturning. Install the main beams onto the steel props. Then fix the secondary beams between main beams and between main and filler beams according to the design spacing, completing the overall beam support structure. We now move to the special edge and beam solutions, starting with the column side detailing. Install the filler beam and connect it to the panel. Place the secondary beams on top. Then lay plywood, arranging the beams in a cross-overlapping layout within the reserved column gap. Next is the wall edge solution. Drill holes, as designed, and fix them to the filler beam with bolts. Then place the filler beam onto the early stripping head and secure it firmly to the Alu-Flex panel with locking handles before laying the plywood. Finally, we proceed with the beam solution. Install the filler beam and secure it to the panel with locking handles. Then install the beam hanger system, including the bottom support beam, big plate nuts, plywood, H20 timber beams, and beam brackets. After completing the wall edge, column edge, and beam treatments, and laying the plywood, note that on the APEX DEK area, the plywood can be laid directly in full sheets without cutting. The entire slab structure is now fully assembled and ready for the next construction stage. As the slab structure is completed, we move on to the next stage, Installing the slab edges using plastic formwork. First, mark and align the layout according to the drawings. Assemble and connect the plastic panels using erection handles, placing them at the marked positions. Install edge clamps at the panel joints and secure them with wood screws, highlighting the straightforward and efficient assembly method. Next, we install the guardrail on the slab edge. Clip the guardrail into the panel profile and adjust the stop blocks to secure it tightly. Turn the guardrail handle to firmly connect the base to the panel. Place the timber support and fix it with nails, completing the guardrail installation. Next, complete the slab reinforcement by tying the steel bars according to the design. Then proceed with concrete pouring and vibration. Assemble and connect the plastic panels using erection handles, placing them at the marked positions. As the guardrails and plastic panels are dismantled, the Alu-Flex panels are removed as follow. Panels are lowered by hitting the 4 early stripping heads, then lifted and removed by workers from both sides. Steel props, big plate nuts, bottom support beams, timber beams, plywood, and filler beams are dismantled next. For wall edges, first remove the filler beam handles, then the panels, and finally the corresponding filler beams and plywood. Following the dismantling of the Alu-Flex slab formwork, we move on to removing the APEX DEK system. Hit the early stripping heads to lower the main and secondary beams. Remove the secondary beams, then take off the plywood. Finally, remove the main beams and return the edge steel props to the upright position. Once the concrete has gained sufficient strength, the remaining steel props are removed, completing the full formwork dismantling safely. With the full assembly and casting process successfully demonstrated, HETO, Alu-Flex, and APEX DEK are fully ready for real-world projects, offering efficiency, precision, and reliable concrete quality you can trust.